Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We've been off since the end of the season, but thank you for joining us again as we start 2025. We are talking about the off season so far. Things are, let's just say it, Logan. Things aren't great for the Blue Jays in the off season. Andres Jimenez is a good player, and that's fine. It's sort of like last year, right? It's fine. It's like that's where we're going, right?
Yeah, I mean, what we played that game. We're the dog with the hat sitting in the room that's on fire. Just it's fine.
Yeah, that
Fine.
meme. Yeah,
fine.
exactly. It's
Uh,
fine.
yeah, welcome back, everybody. Happy New Year. It's been a minute. Lots has happened, and we are here today to react to the Mike Wilner interview on Foul Territory.
Foul Territory asked Mike Wilner about the offseason, Vladdy, the chance of signing him, and what he thinks about the situation. So the kind of the thrust of his argument was that things flow from signing Vladdy, essentially.
The biggest issue of all is that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is not signed. I think the Blue Jays really blew it a couple of years ago in not locking him up, and it's going to cost them. Well, it should cost them a couple $100 million, but extra than what it would have cost him to sign him 2 years ago. But I don't think they're going to sign him. He's given them the deadline of the opening of spring training. He said on a podcast in the Dominican last month that he was offered $340 million, and it's not close to what he wants. Apparently, he's looking for somewhere in the neighborhood of 450, and who knows how that's changed with the Soto's signing and the way the market has changed. But Vladdy knows that he's going to be the belle of the ball next winter. He'll be what Soto was this winter and what Ohtani was last winter, just on a lower level, but he's going to be the best out there, and he'll have teams crawling all over themselves to sign him. So he's in no rush. And the Blue Jays have really dropped the ball on him. And while he sits there unsigned, other free agents, and I talked to Alek Manoah about this the other day. It's on the current episode of my podcast, which everyone should be listening to. And Manoah said, once they know what they're doing with Vlad, then that will give other free agents the idea to know who they're playing with and what they're signing up for and all that stuff. But while they're dragging their feet on this, other people are looking and saying, what am I signing up for? There's no Vladimir Guerrero Jr. after this year. There's no Bo Bichette after this year. There's no Kevin Gausman after next year, and no Chris Bassett after this year. What's going on? So I really do think that that's the biggest thing. Whatever their plan was, and I asked Mark Shapiro in October if he thought Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was a generational player, and he didn't say yes. Sort of hemmed and hawed his way around it. And I wonder if other people look at this team and think, this is how they're evaluating their stars. Why would I want to come there? So for me, the plan has to involve making trades or signing people like Roki Sasaki or Haesung Kim. And so far, we haven't seen much of that either way.
We lost out. He said they cost the franchise. They missed an opportunity a couple years ago to lock him down, and if they would have done it a couple years ago and bought out the last couple years of his ARB, they could have signed him probably for a much better rate, because the league, since the Shohei sweepstakes, every offseason, it just goes crazy. These guys are going crazy. So
I'm
the
sure if
market's
they would
just
have given
resetting.
him the offer that they gave him a couple weeks ago, a couple years ago, he'd be locked down.
Lockdown. Yeah. Yeah. But the price went up. So Wilner thought 450, and you made a good point of saying, where did he get that number from?
Yeah, he's the first person in any media that I have heard give a number that Vladdy wanted.
Yes. And so is that speculation? I don't feel like he's the kind of journalist that would just make up a number.
Me either.
So I'd like to know where that's coming from, if it's coming from Vladdy's camp.
Did it come from that? Like, so Vladdy did that Dominican interview, which I've tried to find and haven't really been able to.
Yep.
That's where he laid it all out on the table. Like, Vladdy, I don't know if everybody knows, but he put the ball in the Blue Jays court.
Big time.
He said, I will sign with you for the right number. You have until the first full day of pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training to negotiate.
Yep. Yeah.
I want to be, and basically he said, I want to be a Blue Jay. Like he's happy to be a Blue Jay for life. But he's not going to take a discount for it, and
Yeah.
nor should he.
Yeah. And so Wilner said, that, and I think rightly so, like the Blue Jays management, these guys, and we're going to call them Shatkins because right now it's freaking Shatkins. They think they're so smart. They think they're doing this like, oh, we have to be, what do they call it? Not responsible, disciplined. Disciplined. That's the word he used. And I'm wondering, what does that mean to them as managers of a baseball team? We have to be disciplined. In what way? Because every other team, you've got like, you came below the salary cap number last year. So at the end of the year, so you're now in a first year level of being a salary tax team.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do that. You should do that by signing Vladdy to a bigger number, by bringing in a big free agent bat. Like you should up your payroll. And for Shapiro to have said that at the end of last year, like we don't expect that to go up. That said a lot. And I said at the time, I don't think that they have any plans on trying to improve this team. I think they're going to tell us they are, and they're just not going to.
Then they go out and very responsibly offer Juan Soto a $760 million contract.
Yes, and which is the most frustrating part about
it. Bullshit.
Right?
It's so bullshit. It's so like, it's just insulting to fans. Like, we don't need that guy or want that guy. We've got that guy.
Yes.
Sign him.
Sign your guy. Sign the guy you have that wants to play on your freaking team. And then, Wilner was right. That's when things will start to form. Because if you're Anthony Santander, he just upped his number. That's great and everything. But if you're Anthony Santander and you're like, do I want to play for the Blue Jays? Do I want to sign up for 5 years to play for the Blue Jays as a competitive team or a rebuilding team? Because that guy doesn't want to go to a rebuilding team, especially after the last few years in Baltimore. And feeling that success, like, he wants to go and continue playing for competitive teams. So if you sign Vladdy, you signal you are trying to be a competitive team.
If any of the reports of the free agents were true that have signed already with other teams that had higher offers from the Blue Jays.
Yes.
If any of that is true, it's 100% because they have no idea what the future of this club is, just like everybody else. And they've been in the room and asked the questions.
Yeah.
Which means they got answers they didn't like, and they signed somewhere else. Wilner also points out that the tax situation is a joke because you get paid in American dollars and you live in Canadian dollars. So that more than offsets any tax that you would have to deal with.
I think it's that the team's not offering them what they want. I really think that's it. I think, you guys know money talks. Toronto's a great place to be and a great place to play. You get paid in American dollars while you're spending in Canadian dollars. And right now that means you're getting $1.40 for every dollar, which is phenomenal. If you sign a $10 million contract with the Jays, it's $14 million here in Canada. And that more than offsets any tax changes. And everyone who plays here raves about it. Kratzy knows that. So I really just think that it's that they're getting what they want from teams that aren't the Blue Jays. I'm sure they were in on Teoscar Hernandez, and I'm sure Teoscar would have preferred to play with the Dodgers and with Shohei Ohtani, having just won a World Series championship and all that stuff, seeing the direction that team is headed in. Someone said to me the other day, where the Dodgers going to be in 10 years, what's going to happen when all these deferrals come due? And I said, they're going to have won 8 World Series by then. What does it matter? And that's what Teoscar's seeing. I don't know why Anthony Santander is not here yet. I don't know why the Blue Jays haven't made a push for Pete Alonso. I just think it's a matter of that whole thing where they're trying to be rational about costs, and the market has changed and everyone's outbidding them. Because if you're Toronto and you're not offering the most, then you're not going to get people to come here. You don't have to blow away everybody else's offer, but you do have to top. everybody else's offer, and they don't seem to be willing to do that.
Yeah.
And he is 100% correct on that.
Yeah.
No player is not coming here because of the money. You actually can kind of make more money in Toronto.
Yeah.
Your dollar goes farther while you're in Toronto.
While you're in Toronto, yes. Yeah.
So that argument to me has always been stupid. It comes down to, does a player want to be on the team or not?
Yeah.
And now we've learned that several don't, because this team has no idea where it's going. This Blue Jays team with no identity.
Yeah.
Are they a defensive team? Are they a hitter? They've won 2 defensive Gold Gloves in a row. The only team to ever win it.
Clearly, they're a defensive team, and they're a defensive team only.
That is not a Blue Jays team identity, in my opinion. Okay, from the day one in 1977, this team has mashed baseballs.
Right.
That's what they do. It's the American League East. If you don't do it, look what happens.
Well, let's go back to...
You could have the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
If you can't score runs, you ain't winning.
Let's go back to the Atkins presser at the end of the year, saying that he's convinced that that defense wins. No, it was contact wins. It was contact wins championships, and not power. And what happened in the playoffs? Power. Power won that thing. Power. Both teams that were in the World Series,
Dodgers v Yankees,
got there on power. Atkins, you're an idiot, man. Just straight
Absolute
up.
Idiot. I agree. I'm tired of being kind of nice about it.
We've been way too nice.
Yeah. This guy's got to go. He has to be the first. Shapiro has to go as well. Yeah. Because I've heard this multiple times, but somehow Shapiro has the ear of Ed Rogers.
Yeah.
They like him. He's not even good at lying to the media. You can see right through the man.
Is Vladdy a generational player? He might be. Dude, just say yes.
So I don't understand how that could possibly be an actual thing.
He's Grima Wormtongue. He's from the Lord of the Rings. He's Grima Wormtongue, and Ed Rogers is Theoden the King. That's...
Well, then we need Gandalf to come in and whack him in the head with one and be like, yo, give your head a shake.
Yeah.
This isn't working.
Ed Rogers, I know you're not watching small YouTube channels, but bud, please, for your fans, please get rid of Shackins. Thank you.
Well, so another aside, I guess, but we've talked about this a whole bunch in the past. They're not going to care until there's no fans in the seats.
Wilner brought this up, and I completely
brought this up too.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with what he had to say.
As someone who's been covering this team for 36 years now, I was there every day from 2001 to 2012 when things were just terrible, with all apologies to Eric Kratz. I mean, this team was mediocre at best. It was good but never good enough, never in a playoff race. And I don't believe the fans checked out as hard back then as they are right now. And I don't think ownership realizes it. Mark Shapiro is someone who revels in fans' disappointment or hate. He thinks it's okay. He knows what's going on and everything's going to be fine. And you know what? It's fine when fans hate you if your team is good and you're doing the right things, some of which are uncomfortable, but they result in winning. When fans hate you and the team stinks, that's not the same thing. And I'm not sure Shapiro or ownership realizes that. I do think that unless they bring in at least one big scary bat, if not two, this is going to be a bad team again. And it's going to be tough to watch for a third straight year. And we're not that far away from seeing the 11, 12, 13,000 attendance days that we saw 20 years ago. And again, when fans are angry, that's good. When fans don't care, that's a real problem. And that's what's coming to Toronto, I think.
Are we there? Are we back to the days of 10 to 12,000 attendance. Are we the next Oakland Athletics?
Well, so I saw a fan poll on one of the Blue Jays Nation or something like that earlier, and it said, do you plan on going to any Blue Jays games in 2025? 90% of respondents in the poll said no. So to me, that's a problem.
Look, I mean, can you blame them? The promotions do not draw fans. The team does not draw fans.
Yeah, the baseball has to be the driver.
If you can at least lose and it's entertaining, like, look, they lost in the year 2000 and 2000 and, like, they weren't great in the like,
dark
late
times,
90s and 2000s, but they had teams that mashed baseballs and played great baseball, and they had amazing pitching, and we watched. If he walks and Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro and James Click still have jobs with the Blue Jays in 2026, double decade of despair?
Oh God, dude. Like
I mean, we're 3 years into the first decade of despair. Bo hurt himself. The Blue Jays have been steadily getting worse since 2022.
Steadily declining. Yes.
Vladdy went off last year. Awesome. We got one guy back to form. Even if we sign him, which we have to do, because if we don't sign him, we have to go get him, right? So they have to extend him.
So you sign him. Sign him, even if you say you're going to trade him, right? Sign him, and even if you still want to trade him because you have something internally that you're like, you know what? Vladdy's not the guy, right? So you fucking sign him to that goddamn deal. And then you trade him to somebody for a massive package because they have 10 years of control for this superstar that everybody seems to want. And secretly that this guy's not going to pan out. I don't...
Locking him into a long-term contract makes him more tradable.
100%. You get more value, a huge value. You could basically fleece an entire team's farm system and take a player from them today.
Yeah,
and they would pay that price.
And like 4 minor leaguers, and they're still paying. They're going to
good
pay
ones.
100% of Vlad's contract. Like
hell yeah.
And here's the thing: if I haven't heard terms at all yet, so the offer for 340. Did we ever get terms on that? Did we ever get a length on that? Like, if you offered him 340 over 15 years, quit being stupid.
Yeah, I think the assumption is 10, but I don't know. We didn't get those terms, so I'm just assuming all of these numbers are based on a 10-year contract. Is what I've been kind of operating on.
Soto signed 15, and Vladdy's the same age, so I'm assuming he wants I want this to be my last contract. None of these guys want to sign, like if it's 10 years, right? That means he's 36 in free agency again. They don't want that. Right? So Vladdy is probably looking for a contract that takes him to 40, just like everybody else has.
Right.
So that's my guess. He's looking for terms of up to 15 years. And if it's 450... over 15 years that he wants,
dude,
sign the check.
I still think if it's 450 at 10, you sign the check.
Yeah,
you keep costing yourself money though. Yeah. Every time all this waiting is costing money.
Why are you even negotiating? Like if he
said, there is no negotiating.
The number, if it's not $1 billion, just sign it.
Yeah.
Like, what's it going to cost you to replace Vladdy? What's it going to cost you to replace 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, 200 hits?
Yep. It's going to cost you more.
A lot, because it's going to cost you 2 guys, probably,
2 players,
that you have to bring in to make that up the way the Blue Jays do it.
Exactly.
So it costs you a roster spot. It costs you all that money to pay 2 guys. Like, it's just...
Look, we're not. I don't pretend to be. I understand the inside workings of a Major League Baseball front office, but this is not a complicated thing. There's complicated stuff in contract negotiations. There's complicated things all over baseball. This is not one of them.
No, it's not. It's not. And I will say I am kind of the same. I am not going to claim that I know everything about the way a front office works, but I will also say that for the last several years, I have been listening to Nothing Personal with David Sampson, and I know a heck of a lot more about how a front office works.
True. You've learned a lot. Yep.
This deal should be done.
Yes.
This deal should be done.
Yeah.
There is only a few teams that don't do this deal, and Toronto should not be one of them.
Yeah.
Like, more than enough money. You're going to offer Soto. You're going to offer Soto more than you would have offered Ohtani.
Yeah.
Overall contract. Like AAV was different, but overall contract.
Would you consider Soto to be more valuable if Soto and Vladdy were both playing for the Blue Jays? Who is the more valuable player to the Blue Jays? I still think it's Vladdy.
It's Vladdy. It's Vladdy. Because Vladdy will continue to play Gold Glove level first base for another 7 or 8 years, 6 or 7 years before he has to transition to DH. He can still pick it at third.
Yep.
So, like, Soto,
barely catch a fly
I'm telling
ball.
you, dude, he is going to play his year 26 season, maybe his year 27 season on the field for 50% of the games to 50 to 80% of the games. And then he's 28 on. That dude's a DH. That dude's a DH.
Hot take. Okay, we'll see how that goes.
I don't think it is that hot of a take. I think a lot of people think the same way I think.
Yeah?
I think it's a tepid take.
Okay. A double T.
Like, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll go to see how that breaks down. But I do think right now Vladdy is the more valuable player if you were playing both those teams. So the Blue Jays,
he's currently
backed up the money
defender.
Backed up the money truck for Soto, and refused to do the same thing for a better player.
Yeah. Or, I mean, like, yes. Overall player, yes.
Vlad is a better player. He's not the same, like, kind of athlete. They're different athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
But Vladdy is a better player for a baseball team.
I agree. Yes.
So, Wilner was right. Vladdy needs to get signed. Shakins needs to go. And if neither of those things happens, it's going to be dark in Blue Jays land. We really want to know what you guys think. Tell us how you feel about Shakins, about signing Vladdy. When does this need to get done? Do you know something that the rest of us don't know about the situation that you can please share with us? Because we're sitting here in the dark in Blue Jays land and wondering what the hell is going on. So, thanks for joining us. We'll be back. Hopefully something good happens and we can be excited, but we will see. Cool. So, thanks again. And until then, give us a like and a subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Okay. Peace, guys.